Organised crime has moved into our financial markets.
They steal share lists from companies and they just go through the list and see if they can get people to buy it. Shares are of no value, and then that's it, the funds are gone.
Across Britain, they've targeted hundreds of victims with intimidating phone calls.
If you don't transfer your shares, you can tear up your shares, just doesn't put them in the bin now.
How much are we looking at in total?
142,000.
The City of London police are on the trail of a gang making millions.
I'm arresting on suspicion of conspiracy to defraud and money laundering.
In Spain, detectives uncover the nerve centre of the gang's operation.
Notes of contacts, notes of who was working for him, and details of high-value transactions as well. We're looking between 10 and 20 million, and that can change on a daily basis.
And track across Europe to bring the gang to justice.
The UK is a hostile environment for fraudsters. Do not come here and commit your crime.
The City of London police have arrested 9 people.
The police, open the door!
Scott, you're going to be arrested on suspicion of conspiracy to defraud. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence.
They're accused of selling millions of pounds of fake shares to hundreds of British victims. Detectives believe these suspects are the key operators of the fraud. The ones who distribute the fake share certificates, launder the money, and make the bullying phone calls to the victims, forcing them to part with their life savings. But the ringleader, George Abu, remains out of reach in the playgrounds of Europe. Unless he's caught soon, the victim's money will disappear. The whole case is at risk. Detectives do have a clue to his whereabouts. On her arrest, his wife, Sarah Robson, told them that she was due to meet him at Copenhagen Airport this afternoon. As she is in custody, detectives lay a trap to entice Abu to the airport.
I want to try and send a text message from Sarah's phone as if she's now on a flight and she missed her earlier flight, to try and draw him out to pick her up at the airport. But of course what will happen is hopefully it will draw him out and we'll be there at the airport to bring him into custody.
Detective James Clancy and the Danish police will be there to arrest him.
Well, they won't be on the flight, but he won't know that.
With Abu's arrival at Copenhagen Airport imminent, an unexpected call comes in from the Swedish police.
There is a God. I have to say, absolutely brilliant. We can all pack up now and get down the boozer.
Ringleader Abu has been arrested in Sweden for assault.
It's a touch, isn't it? Fantastic.
Yeah, lovely. Can't believe it.
Bet Clancy will be pleased.
Yeah, James is. It's nearly in the right country. Yeah, it's just one over to the left. Over there.
Having thought they planned for every eventuality, detectives didn't anticipate Abu would fall into their hands so easily.
for whatever reason, he's committed assault somehow. They've gone around nicked him for that, realised that he's wanted for a much more serious offence in the UK, and now the European arrest warrant's kicked in. So, absolutely fantastic news. Really pleased, mate. Well done.
The arrest of a man behind one of the biggest share frauds in Europe is a real coup for detectives. But they can't rest on their laurels. Other key gang members still remain at large. They could destroy evidence and clear out the bank accounts.
Can I just ask you, my phone and everything was brought in as well? What happens to that?
It's been kept safe.
Right.
The suspects in Northumbria are released on bail. Detectives must now build a case against them. Computers and mobile phones seized from their homes could provide vital evidence, but will take time to analyse. Fraud is one of the fastest growing crimes in Britain. $3.2 million people have fallen victim to an ever-growing number of scams. The Economic Crime Department at the City of London Police have 700 investigations on their books, totalling over £5 billion. The gangs behind the scams are becoming ever more intelligent, mirroring international corporations, pooling information, and outsourcing their skills.
What we see in fraud, and particularly in boiler rooms, is once you've been identified as a potential victim, you'll find that your details are being traded like another commodity. They will sell lists of individuals who they believe are susceptible to fraud. They will make profit out of that. And they will also sell on details to other people within the networks. So I might have been bleeding you dry for quite some time and believe that I've got everything I can out of you. I might sell your details on to someone else who's got a new scam that actually believes they can get a little bit more out of you.
This is exactly what happened to 91-year-old John Learmonth and his wife. Abu's gang stole over £100,000 from them. Since then, they have been targeted by another gang with another share fraud.
No human being should be allowed to inflict this on somebody else to this extent. Do you think of them? Well, they're despicable, they're not ordinary people investing. They're out to make money out of other people at any price or at any discomfort to the other person.
The discomfort for John is very real. He has kept the true extent of the fraud from his wife.
My wife, this last two years, has been virtually immobile. I'm her chief carer. I've discussed it very little with my wife. I don't want her worried and bothered about it. But whether we'll ever get our money back again, or a small portion of it, I don't know.
The City of London Police are investigating a multi-million-pound share fraud.
Just recap on the arrests, the arrest phase, the interviews, and...
The arrests of gang leader Abu and his co-conspirators has provided detectives with an abundance of fresh leads. In his interview, suspect Scott Henderson was particularly forthcoming.
He said the Spanish base was an office block above restaurants. They had 6 to 7 staff working there when he got there. They all had aliases. He said there are openers and closers in the office.
What said about them?
He said that George would tell me occasionally to send back cheques to the victims for like amounts like €200-300 just to keep them sweet. He's made some money on his charities, part of it, and then try and get them to invest more.
I like Scott Henderson.
He then went on to mention bank accounts, which is interesting. He mentioned the bank account of Banco de Valencia. He mentioned an account in Italy. He said that George had got in with the directors in the bank in Italy and basically bought them out by buying them Audi cars. He said he kept them sweet by buying them Audis and they'd open accounts for him.
Keep going.
The accounts in Scandinavia were provided by a gang called the Brotherhood.
Abu used a network of bank accounts to hide his money. Detectives have identified one of the money launderers. Bank transfers show payments to a Babatunde Aluku.
When I put Babatunde Aluku to him,
Oh, yeah.
and he went a bit cagey then and didn't really want to talk about him.
Okay.
He said he knew him,
Right.
but that was it. Yeah,
Babatunde doesn't want to talk about his cagey.
Yeah.
But what did he say?
He just said, I know him, and that was it. He just didn't want to, he just said, I know him, that's it.
Apprehending Aluku is now a top priority. He could destroy evidence and hide the assets.
What I'm after is taking down the actual hierarchy of this criminality, and until that's done, then if more have to be arrested, more will be arrested.
It's 6 a.m. in the morning. 20 officers from the City of London Police are going to arrest Babatunde Aluku, one of the gang's money launderers.
From the looks of it, could have stayed overnight, not made his bed, and left it like yesterday or the day before. It's basically like that, really. So he could well be in Spain.
The worry is Aluku could have been tipped off when the other suspects were arrested. But his passport is still here, and he's on probation for another offence. Detective Joe Walsh calls his case officer.
Yeah. What we want to know is basically, does he work, and if he works, can she inform us where he works, because we need to arrest him.
Aluku doesn't have a job, but his bedroom reveals expensive tastes.
Armani's, D&G, Boss, another D&G. We're talking about £60,000 or £70,000 worth of property. I think the victims, they'll be absolutely outraged, given that some of these victims are elderly, some of them have lost inheritances, pensions, when people have worked hard for their money. They are not going to want to see somebody taking the money and going and spending it on jewellery, cars, boats, houses, holidays, and a general lifestyle.
In his front room, detectives find a treasure trove of incriminating documents.
It is a statement from a bank, and it outlines names of some of the other suspects, showing payment, remitter's name, or destination name and a remitter's name.
A file containing a list of victims called by the fraudsters with their handwritten comments is also found.
I've got G/D a bitch, try afternoon, certificates with other corporation, call on the 16th, being spanked, call after 7:30, dead.
The documents are damning evidence against Aluku. Detectives discover they have just narrowly missed him. Checks on the apartment block CCTV show Aluku was here just 2 hours ago.
The vehicle that he was driving, the black BMW, it drove in at 4:50 this morning.
They believe he could return shortly. They need a plan.
Well, I don't know what the commitments are on it.
The door at the moment is being replaced. I think as you can hear. That will be that'll have new locks on it, so there'll be limited access for the suspect when he returns home.
They hope the replica door will convince Aluku that nothing is amiss. CCTV covering all the entry points is closely monitored. Officers are placed on the stairwells.
As soon as he comes through that door, we'll ask you to lock it. And then we'll go down to where they are now and effect the arrest there. Okay?
By 2 a.m, there's still no sign of Aluku. After a very long day, officers are sent home. Detectives have put out an all-ports warning for suspect Babatunde Aluku. They've circulated details of his BMW car to forces across the country and are back keeping a close eye on his flat. Late into the day, an urgent call comes in from the Metropolitan Police. Aluku's car has been sighted in southwest London.
Bends round to the right. Left-hand side is the car block. Right-hand side there's a low sort of three-storey block. Car's next to the car block.
The other idea is to send the truck down to lift the vehicle, and then once the alarm gets tripped, it'll bring him out.
The car is parked outside a block of 200 flats. Aluku could be in any one of them. They check to ensure they have the exit points covered.
There it is. Yeah.
And decide to wait for Aluku's next move.
That's it. Go, 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 boy. Go, boy. Go, go, go. DC tapped on the line from the City of London Police. Cartel is on arresting on suspicion of conspiracy to defraud and money laundering.
Good man, good man.
Just like the other suspects, he has a new top-of-the-range car.
This is Mr. Babatunde Aluku. He's been arrested this evening for conspiracy to defraud and also for money laundering at 20 to 9.
So he's arrested for
conspiracy to defraud and money laundering.
He's a typical fraudster, carrying £1,000 in pocket money.
And what do you do for a job?
I'm currently unemployed.
Sorry?
I'm currently unemployed.
Okay.
Detectives have already gathered overwhelming evidence against Aluku and decide to go for an aggressive strategy in their opening interview.
For a man that doesn't work, doesn't have an income, got a healthcare card in his pocket in his own name, so he clearly pays for private health, drives a 6 Series BMW worth, I don't know, 40 grand, wears a Breitling watch, has £1,000 in his pocket, and a load of bank accounts in Spain and the UK, well, where's his wealth come from? Anyone died recently and left him money? Any inheritance? Won the lottery?
Aluku does have a defence, but it's hard to believe. He claims the money transfers from Abu are loans to help him with a nightclub promotion business.
Borrowed money from George, about £12,000 sterling he mentioned, and he feels comfortable asking George for money because he has lots. He's transferred money 2 or 3 times, and we asked him have you done any promotion events. He said no, not yet. And then because we were saying,
I'll wash your money in a grand in his pocket, and he's done nothing to work for it, but good old George has bailed him out.
He also tries to explain away the victims list found in his flat. They're supposedly from a stockbroker firm he once worked for. Conveniently, he can't remember the name of the firm, its location, or any of its employees.
Trouble is, it's a very elaborate story, but with holes in it all over the place. And when you get into the nuts and bolts of the payments, it's just a copious web of lies and deceit.
Babatunde Aluku is later charged with conspiracy to defraud and money laundering. His BMW is added to the growing list of cars, jewellery and cash seized from the gang.
I certainly feel better that that car's in our pound than out on the streets being driven by people like Mr. Aluku. And it's my aim and ambition in this operation to take every bit of lifestyle that they've obtained through other people's savings and through robbing other people off them and putting it and repatriating it back with the people that actually worked for it.
Detectives have taken over 300 witness statements, seized 1,600 exhibits, and frozen 31 bank accounts linked to the gang. But ringleader Abu is fighting his extradition in a Swedish court, and millions of pounds of the victims' money still remains missing. A potential lead on the missing millions comes from a mobile phone seized from Abu's wife, Sarah Robson. Cataloguing the trappings of her wealth, she's taken dozens of pictures of her luxurious life with Abu in Spain. Her vanity has been her undoing.
We have got a snapshot of Sarah's life. And it displays some of the luxury that she's had. For some reason, she's decided that she's going to take pictures of her Louis Vuitton luggage in various stages of unwrapping it, so she was obviously very thrilled to get that and say it's genuine, it's worth a lot of money. The Bentley key ring. She's gone to the point of she's even taking pictures of what she's having for her dinner. It also shows that she's stayed in good quality hotels. It's shown that she's had holidays in Spain and other parts of the world. So we're really getting, for somebody who is a young lady without employment, that she's got a luxury lifestyle that's being funded by a criminal.
But it's a video she's filmed which is of most interest. It shows a multi-million-pound property in Spain owned by Abu, which detectives were unaware of.
On Sarah's telephone, she's also gone round and very helpfully took a video, almost like an estate agent. It is extremely high spec property. Lots of stainless steel, lots of glass, and Sarah's gone round taking a video of the whole house, all the way down to the basement. and you've got the cars that are angled, I'm sure, by George to look at their very best, which is the Ferrari and Maserati. So as you go down the stairs, you've got both fronts of the cars facing out towards the garage.
The house and luxury cars need to be found and seized. An examination of the other suspects' phones show the same love for expensive cars and the champagne lifestyle.
Some hotels, you look, you've got to tell you, you've got fucking 2 plasmas.
They're just loading it up in the sun with carefree attitude.
They want the expensive suites, they want the accommodation, they want the car, they want the women, they want the money, they want the lifestyle, the champagne, and that's what it's all about.
They're thieves. Modern technology is what they're using to commit the same old crime, theft.
Detectives from the City of London Police are in Spain. A British gang ran a multi-million-pound share fraud from here, targeting hundreds of victims across the UK. Detectives have come to seize the gang's assets. Dave Manley is in Barcelona. With the help of the Spanish police, he has tracked down the home of ringleader George Abu.
Today, we're going to seize the cars, but anything really. If we go to the property and there's jewellery, if we go there, there's works of art, anything that's there we will seize because it's a one-off opportunity.
Detective Inspector James Clancy is in Malaga. He's trying to trace the assets of the boiler room workers.
We're just going to establish, confirm where they lived, try and look at the apartments, and just confirm, the kind of level of lifestyle that they were enjoying while they were out here.
Abu's house is in Barcelona's most sought-after district. It is valued at over £2 million.
It is a magnificent house. It's in a very plush neighbourhood. You've got a house over 4 floors. It's got sort of Willy Wonka glass lift, really. That's the best way to describe it. It's luxury. It's top drawer.
Spanish police will assist Dave Manley in the search of the house. They quickly find what they are after.
We've had a good day, okay? We've had, apart from the cars which we knew we were going to seize from the basement, we've got a handwritten diary. Within that diary, it's notes of contacts, notes of who was working for him, and details of high-value transactions as well.
But there's a sting in the tail. The £2 million house is not owned by Abu. He'd paid €84,000 in cash to rent it for a year. Assets for Abu were not a priority. Lifestyle was.
We're aware, I think last year in Barcelona he rented out a hotel, and we're hearing sums of him spending up to 100,000, where he would fly people around the world to celebrate his birthday with him. And again, that's all victims' money. And I suppose the most galling thing about that is if he'd actually spent all his money on assets, then we'd be able to seize them now. But a lot of the time it is just on, lifestyle, restaurants, cars, holidays.
Detective James Clancy has been searching for 8 hours. A drive past one luxury resort has raised his interest.
This is it, isn't it? This is definitely it. Same windows and the arches, isn't it?
He's seen these apartments before, on the mobile phones of the other gang members.
But these blocks with the windows are right. aren't they? You go through.
A cross-reference with the downloaded pictures proves he has a match. The resort is 5-star, in a prime location, and comes with its very own golf course. But again, there's no assets to be seized. Each apartment was rented by the gang for €2,000 a month, paid with the victim's money.
I think it would be upset a lot of them to see where they are, where they're residing for 2 years with their money.
Spain has not yielded the assets detectives hoped for. But in Mallorca, another team have had a breakthrough. They've located the gang's boiler room. A clear-up operation has been interrupted, leaving a goldmine of evidence. There are lists of victims, bank transfer schedules, telephone scripts, and a whiteboard with victims' payments. It clearly links the suspects to the fraud.
There was a sense amongst these people that once they were outside the UK, they were untouchable. Once they were outside effectively the jurisdiction of the British police, they thought that somehow they couldn't be touched.
In London, a forensic analysis of Scott Henderson's computer completes the chain of evidence. He documented the boiler room's every transaction and foolishly kept files naming the workers, their commissions, and their victims.
It's a huge leap forward for us in terms of evidence. It makes that link in terms of linking the suspects with the bank accounts, the computers being instrumental to it, and it really shows how the trade is made. It shows that the boiler rooms secure the investment, they send that information to Henderson, he makes the documents up in terms of the certificates, the invoices, the letters saying thanks for your investment, and then he sends it out to our victims.
The files confirm that Sam Hamid, Dean Hamilton, and Mark Brannan were the brokers operating the phones from Spain.
They're taken over by the boiler rooms. They're almost brainwashed by the money they can earn. And this is a chart that shows the broker's cuts. So for example, the broker sells 100,000 shares. It equates to £195,000. The broker gets £48,750 in his pocket. You know, that's a third of the deal. It's an extraordinary amount of money to earn over one deal. That's what I earn in a year. It is greed that drives this crime. The greed of money drives the crime, and that takes over all of their consciousness about how they actually hurt the victims and the tragedies that they're causing in the UK.
Recalled from bail, Sam Hamid, Dean Hamilton, Scott Henderson, and Mark Brannan are all charged with conspiracy to defraud.
It's very easy, perhaps, on the end of a phone, when you don't have to look someone in the eye, and actually then see the despair, see how you're driving them towards the very edge of the abyss of hopelessness in that sense. You know, it's a coward's way of doing it over the phone, over the internet, with no personal contact like that.
A computer file reveals why they were so successful at cheating their victims.
They're full scripts on the computers from the minute that the person in the UK picks the phone up, how to conduct yourself, how to set out your stall as a salesman, as a broker. There's an answer for everything here. I need to speak to my broker, there's an answer. I need to speak to my financial advisor, there's an answer. If the client thinks he's in control, and then they have the audacity to put in brackets afterwards, being a prick. then there's an answer there as well. Absolute disgrace. Dave, just let you know the plane's in front of me, and he's just about to embark, so I'll let you know.
George Abu, the orchestrator of one of Europe's biggest share frauds, has finally been extradited back from Sweden.
I've heard whispers that he keeps telling everyone he's an innocent man still. That was as of yesterday from Sweden, so maybe he'll tell me the same. Maybe he'll just give me the look of the devil, or maybe he might even try and hit me. Whatever he fancies, really, don't mind. It's just nice to see him on British soil. Yeah, it's a good day today.
The 12-month manhunt finally comes to an end.
I'm Dave Clark, and I'm the Senior Investigating Officer for this case. So I'm the man in charge, and I'm the man, the reason really as to why you're here in the UK. All right?
30-year-old Abu conned hundreds of victims out of millions of pounds.
I think he's a very evil individual. I wonder how he can sleep at night, knowing the things that he's done to individuals to destroy and ruin their lives.
In the world that Abu operated in, he was always living on borrowed time.
We already know he was involved with organised crime in Sweden. Somebody had either shot him out there, or he would have been removed from his position of influence. You don't see many of these fraudsters. They don't grow old with manor houses. It doesn't work like that.
Abu is taken to court to be charged. Detectives have amassed over 13,000 pages of evidence against him.
We've had to track people down in terms of victims all over the UK. We've had to track the evidence down all over the world. And we've had to track the suspects down all over the UK, and in fact, in Abu's case, all over Europe. It's worth it to put men like him behind bars. I have absolutely no compassion for that man whatsoever.
He is remanded in prison until his trial. Attention now turns to recovering the millions he had stolen from the victims. Shipped back from Spain, his Ferrari, Bentley Continental, and Maserati are some of the only tangible assets he owned.
We found George's bank account books with about £50,000 in, so I need to get back to the office and check out.
Do we know about this account?
I don't think we know about that.
Oh, he's had a big old spend there, isn't he? In fact, that's a transfer.
200 grand.
So we need to look at where that's been transferred, 200,000 into whatever the account this is, providing we know about it. If we don't,
yeah,
we need to know about it as soon as. So,
W hotel bill, December 09, just that was 2 weeks before he got nicked. So that was 4 grand on 2 nights?
In
3 nights.
dining,
3 nights, 4 grand.
4,000 euros in 3 nights. He's a disgrace, he is. Absolute disgrace.
The cars cost £500,000, but now, damaged and dented, they'll only raise £180,000 for the victims.
It's important to take all of the profit out of his criminality. We're getting this money back for the victims. This isn't money we're getting back for ourselves, this is money for the victims. It's still not enough, and let's be quite honest, it'll never be enough. If I could, I'd take the shirt off his back.
Like all his capital assets, Abu had registered the cars to his wife, Sarah Robson. she is called back to the police station. Aside from laundering £500,000 of the stolen money, she also helped facilitate the fraud, sending invoices and documentation to the victims.
Between the 1st of January 2007 and the 30th of November 2009, you did together with each other and George Abu to acquire or use or had possession of criminal property. You need to sign with the electronic pen to say that I've read those words out to you, and I'll give you a copy of the form.
Her remorse at the minute lies at the fact that she's clearly right in the middle of a conspiracy, and so her concern is for herself at the moment. Don't have any doubt about that.
The family affair with fraud is completed by the arrival of Sarah's mother.
Jocelyn Carter, returned from bed.
Evidence has been gathered that she passed on victims' telephone messages to Abu and laundered £200,000.
Between the 1st of June 2007 and the 30th of November 2009, you did together with George Abu, Sarah Louise Robson, Mark Brennan, Dean Hamilton, Sammy Ahmed, Scott Henderson, Babatunde Adewale Aloiku and others conspired to acquire and use or had possession of criminal property.
Nine suspects are charged with 16 offences. But it may not be enough to satisfy the victims. Today, they have been invited to London. Detectives have seized £1 million in assets from the gang. The victims have lost $20 million.
Let me just start by welcoming everybody here. I wish it was under very, very different circumstances.
As is common in many fraud cases, few of Abu's victims want to be identified. The stigma of being defrauded means some don't even tell their family or friends.
We are glad that so many people have turned up today, and we hope that we'll be able to give you some degree of satisfaction in where we're going with this case. Okay?
Sheila Wright Hoagland lost hundreds of thousands of pounds to another boiler room. She is trying to set up a charity to help victims and warn others of the dangers.
I lost nearly everything I've had. I lost my home as a result of all that. I felt I couldn't tell hardly anybody. I felt angry, ashamed, furious. How could I have been so stupid as to fall for what these people told us? But we weren't stupid, we were unlucky. We had faith in other people. We actually believed what they told us. We thought that they were genuine, and they weren't, and that's not all.
Detective Gary Hall has the difficult job of telling the victims most of their money has gone.
Currently, we have a number of accounts, a number of houses that we've managed to trace, a lot of high-end vehicles, Ferraris, Bentleys, which we have got restrained. We've traced approximately 1 million. Hopefully that figure will go up as we find more assets.
I'm afraid there is no good news there, to be honest, but we're trying our best.
The harm will not stop when he's convicted. You know, what he's done to people, because people don't recover. You know, these are people that a lot of them won't work again because they're already retired, so they don't have the ability to build up another nest egg, you know, another lot of life savings, buy another property. That for them, it's over, it's finished, and they will live in poverty. So each day, when they wake up, it'll be one of the first things they realise, because their life has changed forever.
In January 2011, before the trial begins, George Abu pleads guilty to fraud and money laundering. For his guilty plea, his sentence is reduced from 7.5 years to 5. With good behaviour, he could be out in just 2.5. The other suspects follow suit and also plead guilty. Abu's lieutenant, Scott Henderson, gets 4 years. The boiler room managers, Sam Hamid, and Babatunde Aluku 3 years and 9 months. The workers who called the victims, Dean Hamilton 3 years and Mark Brannan 18 months. Abu's wife, Sarah Robson, and her mother, Jocelyn Kalper, both plead not guilty. The jury don't believe them. Sarah receives 21 months and her mother 12 months. Victim John Learmonth never got his day in court. He had a stroke and now lives in a care home. Sheila Wright Hoagland's mother never recovered from her huge financial losses. A year after the fraud, she passed away.